Truth.
Truth. Welcome to Trusting the Truth with Samuel Tolley, where we view the world through the lens of Jesus Christ. We do not view Jesus Christ through the lens of the world. How you doing? This is Samuel Tolley. In this episode of Trusting the Truth, TrumpLies. That is intentional mass public deception. I would invite, if you're a Democrat, you're a liberal person, you someone that firmly believes that Trump is bad for the country, that Trump is racist, that Trump is xenophobic, that Trump is a mistake. Now, I would assume if you're a normal, decent person, you weren't in agreement with the attempted assassination of Trump. You know, if somebody tried to assassinate President Biden or anyone else for that matter, I'm firmly against it. Obviously, I'm firmly against any citizen getting killed because of a political rally or citizens getting shots. I believe that all of us, on whichever side of the aisle, should be free to support our candidate without worrying about being injured or hurt. But nevertheless, our candidates are our candidates. And I would ask, if you are a Democrat, if you are a firm believer that everything you've heard bad about Trump is true, that you watch this episode of Trusting the Truth, TrumpLies. And then after you see the evidence that I present, if you don't believe that these are lies against President Trump, then do your research. Check it out. I challenge you to see what the heck is going on. So I want to jump right in it, and I want to start with one that was off the top, TrumpLies. Right at the beginning of the 2020, I believe it was, election period, or whenever Vice President Biden at the time was running. And it was stated by all the news sources and everything that Trump was celebrating neo-Nazis in Charlottesville when they knew that it was a lie. But let's see what President Biden had to say at that time, and let's read the exact quotation from President Trump. Let's hold on here. I want to make sure I get the right thing. Here we go.
Mr. Vice President, are you aware that you're misquoting Donald Trump in Charlottesville? He never called neo-Nazis very fine people.
No, he called all those folks that walked out of that, they were neo-Nazis, shouting hate, their veins bulging.
But he said specifically that he was condemning them.
He did not. He said he walked out and he said, let's get this straight. He said there were very fine people in both groups. They're chanting anti-Semitic slogans, carrying flags.
But you're aware that he...
Okay, so President Biden, I apologize for not getting that graphic off sooner, has repeated this. He's still repeating the same thing. Snoop, the fact-checking organization that, by the way, I don't think is very reputable in the sense that they lean toward the left, has finally, after 7 years, came out and said that President Trump never said that neo-Nazis were fine people. Here's the exact quotation of what President Trump had to say. He said, you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson. What do you think about Thomas Jefferson? Do you like him? Are we going to take down take down his statues? Because he was a major slave owner. Now, are we going to take down his statue? You're changing history. You're changing culture. And you had people. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in the group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. You see that? He said, I'm not talking about neo-Nazis and white nationalists because they should be condemned totally. The press has hid this. The press wanted you to believe that President Trump was supporting neo-Nazis and white nationalists. Every chance they get or have gotten, they have tried to paint him as being a racist, as being evil, always trying to get black people to believe the worst. Why? Because they support the Democrat Party and the Democrat agenda. Now, by the way, this is the same press that was for the last 4 years saying that President Biden was sharp, was cognizant, was intelligent, was on top of everything, while they hid him from campaigning back in 2020, while he was in his basement most of the time, while the COVID thing was locking people down, while Trump was everywhere campaigning, just like he's been this year. They were hiding him from public, but there were signs way back then that he was having mental deficiencies. One time on the campaign trail, he was talking about children needing to listen to record players to help their education. Hardly anyone listens to record players and children. Most of them don't even have an idea what a record player is. He was sitting around here talking about liking children to sit on his lap. He had to learn about roaches. Children rubbing his hairs on his legs, all kinds of weird stuff. And we didn't need to go into corn pop. But the media would have you think that President Trump was evil and President Biden was great. Now, I've made different videos talking about the many racist things that President Biden said. They were obvious. They were just flat out there. But the media skirts away from them. The one they couldn't skirt away from is you ain't black, but they gave him a pass, like they've always given him a pass. So why all those years they did the Charlottesville lie? But Charlottesville lie isn't the only lie. There's been many others. So let's sort of go through some of what was going on with the media. Let us see here. And let's just pick it up and watch some more.
Why the media cannot be trusted.
In 2018, NBC incorrectly reported that Trump stayed home at Christmas time, the first U.S. president since 2002 to skip visiting the troops. The news went global, but it wasn't true. The media had jumped the gun. Trump and First Lady Melania left the White House Christmas Day to visit U.S. soldiers in Iraq. On Thanksgiving, Newsweek made a similar error, falsely reporting that Trump was spending the holiday golfing at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. But the reporter had fabricated the golf story. Trump flew to Afghanistan on Thanksgiving to again be with the troops, making Trump the only president in U.S. history to visit troops in a combat zone both on Thanksgiving and so close to Christmas, though the press never reported that. CNN claimed Nancy Sinatra was not happy her father's song was played at Trump's inauguration. But Nancy Sinatra responded, "That's not true. I never said that. Why do you lie, CNN?" Time falsely claimed Trump removed the bust statue of Martin Luther King from the Oval Office. TMZ reported Trump changed Black History Month to African American History Month, but Presidents Obama, Bush, and Clinton had all called it African American History Month. BBC, The Guardian, and others reported that Trump wasn't bothering to listen to a speech by Italy's prime minister since he wasn't wearing translation headphones. Turns out he was wearing a translation earpiece. Newsweek and others reported Poland's first lady refused to shake Trump's hand, but later had to admit she did. CNN edited Trump's remarks to make it seem as though he didn't realize Japan builds cars in the U.S., but the full statement made clear that he does.
You've been creating jobs for our country for a long, long time. Several Japanese automobile industry firms have been really doing a job.
CNN also edited a video to make it seem like Trump impatiently dumped fish food in the water at Japan's palace. But he'd followed the lead of Japan's prime minister. Newsweek claimed Ivanka Trump plagiarized one of her own speeches, which is impossible since plagiarizing is stealing someone else's work. The UK Telegraph apologized for at least 8 mistakes in an article criticizing Melania Trump. The New York Times, AP, CNN, and others excerpted a Trump comment as if he'd called all illegal immigrants animals.
These aren't people. These are animals.
Later corrections noted he'd been referring to members of the murderous MS-13 criminal gang. The New York Times Magazine and CNN shared a story showing children illegally brought into the U.S. supposedly in cages, but the article and photos were actually from the Obama administration. Agence France-Presse mistakenly reported that more than 100,000 children brought in by illegal immigrants were being held in detention. That was actually the total number in 2015 under Obama. Time and others showed a crying Honduran child to illustrate Trump separating illegal immigrant parents from children, but the child hadn't been separated from her parents in the U.S. MSNBC falsely claimed Trump banned the Red Cross from visiting the immigrant children. The Red Cross said that wasn't true. MSNBC also falsely claimed that Trump had talked about exterminating Latinos, but later corrected that and apologized. NBC News misidentified the focus of Trump's praise in a speech as Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Actually, Trump was talking about Union General Ulysses S. Grant.
And his name was Grant, General Grant.
The Washington Post and others falsely reported that Trump supporting pro-life Catholic high school students were the aggressors in a confrontation in Washington, D.C. Several news outlets featured an empty podium at Trump's 4th of July celebration in 2019 and said he didn't draw crowds, but the photo was taken before the event. The actual crowd was huge. The New York Times and others implied Trump hadn't paid income taxes for 18 years, but the record shows he'd paid a higher rate than Democrats Bernie Sanders and President Obama. Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal reported special counsel Robert Mueller had subpoenaed Trump's bank records. That wasn't true. Politico falsely reported that Trump owed the Bank of China tens of millions of dollars in a loan coming due as he dealt with China on coronavirus. Not true. MSNBC falsely reported that Trump had loans with Russian co-signers. Slate.com falsely claimed a Russian bank server had been illicitly communicating with Trump Tower. And the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, and many others falsely reported that the Hunter Biden laptop scandal story was unsubstantiated or Russian disinformation. The New York Times reported that Trump seized on hydroxychloroquine as a miracle cure. Trump never said that.
And it may work and it may not work. But if it doesn't work, it's nothing lost by doing it, nothing.
CNN and others criticized Trump for tweeting that Alabama would likely be affected by Hurricane Dorian, but official advisories had put Alabama in a projected impacted area. Vox.com tweeted that Trump suggested he'd been a 9/11 first responder. He'd said the opposite.
And I was down there also, but I'm not considering myself a first responder.
Multiple media falsely claimed Trump was golfing during a U.S. raid that captured the head of ISIS in Syria and that a White House photo of Trump had been staged, but Trump was at the White House. ABC aired video showing what it called a slaughter against Kurds by Turkey after Trump withdrew U.S. troops, but the video was file tape of a training show in the U.S. And USA Today connected the eagle on a Trump campaign T-shirt with a Nazi eagle, later admitting the eagle is a longtime U.S. symbol, too.
How could the media get so many things wrong? How could they do that? Because they weren't trying to get things right. They were trying to paint Trump as a monster. And they've been feeding this line ever since he became a threat in 2016. Because he didn't, if he would have ran as a Democrat the first time, they would have loved him. But when he ran as a Republican, they had to demonize him. You know, All you have to do is think about the fact that before Trump ever ran for office, no one ever had a bad thing to say about him, Republican or Democrat. I mean, outside of maybe he was a playboy or they thought he was a greedy capitalist or whatever. But the vitriol, the hatred, the evil, it wasn't like that. And now that there's been an assassination attempt on him, we got people are expressing like, oh, well, gee, this is going too far. Well, the media and the Democrat have always went too far. There's nothing new about this. They've been denigrating him like he's Hitler forever. Look what 5 days before Trump, there was an assassination attempt. Look at what President Biden had to say about him. It's time to put Trump in the bullseye. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think President Trump was meaning to shoot him. I don't think that's what he meant. But Democrats, they jumped all over Sarah Palin when she used a bullseye in reference to a political ad when she was running it. And they used that as if she was trying to get somebody shot. They're quick to say this kind of stuff. So why should they be immune to it? And when you've been painting up so much vitriol for someone, why not expect the wacky people in your crowd to feed on it? If you think I'm lying, they've been feeding vitriol against Trump ever since he started. Look what Kathy Griffin did. Look at this. This woman, and I love how, liberals like to say that Trump is evil and he want to put people in concentration camps and he's going to line up journalists and shoot them. All these people have done evil stuff and presented evil. Here this woman is with a severed Trump head, a bloody head that she sticks up there. This was acceptable. This kind of crap is acceptable on the left. There's nothing new about it. These people are evil. And when you call them out, then they get upset. She got upset because she had tours canceled, that people talked about her. But, she's just latest. I mean, look at this Jane Fonda. This woman, Jane Fonda, Trump era has parallels to Hitler and the Third Reich. We've had all kinds of people comparing him to Hitler. I mean, Hitler destroyed 6 million Jews. Trump's daughter is married to a Jew. His grandchildren are being raised as Jews. Trump initiated the Abraham Accord with Israel and other Arab countries. Trump has been the best friend of Israel that existed. But yeah, we got people like Hanoi Jane wanting to call him Hitler. And people will listen to liberal whackheads like her. Let's not forget what this woman did. This is the same woman that during the Vietnam War went to Hanoi with the enemy sitting around, playing around, shooting off an anti-aircraft gun, guns that were killing and knocking down American flyers. This woman was a traitor. And she's got the nerve to say that he was acting like Hitler. Your country, regardless if you believe in the war that they are fighting or not, you should be respectful of your country. Yes, you can criticize your country, but you don't go to the enemy's land and wear the enemy's helmet or whatever and sit around the enemy and denigrate your own country. If you should get in prison for that. So let's not forget who this woman was and what she did. Now, these liberals, These liberals that love to say Trump is evil, they are always quick. I'm going to show you how, they say that, but I'm going to show you how evil these liberals are. I'm going to show you, and and what blows my mind, it blows my mind that we have these entertainers and these actors, people that make believe for a living, that we're supposed to listen to them and think highly of the stuff they do. And then we get these weird, indecent rappers who flim flam and flip flop. Let's take Snoop Dogg, for example. There's pictures of Snoop Dogg with Trump before he ran for president. Oh, he was all he was all hanging out with Trump, just like most of the rappers and everybody else. But then, when Trump was president or running for president, he had to get on the liberal bandwagon. He was hardcore against Trump. Let me show you how hardcore he was against Trump. And he, too, was somebody that was selling hate and placing Trump in danger. So this scumbag makes a short video about shooting Trump. Now, you don't make jokes like that, or you shouldn't, because you encourage fools to attempt it. Now, all of a sudden, he done, sense a change in the atmosphere, or maybe it affected his bottom line or whatever. But now, he's supporting Trump again. Isn't that something? But you get these liberal people that are really crazy or really meaning what they say. We got this screen actor, a guy that wrote Taxi Driver. And he's talking about Taxi Driver screenwriter Paul Schrader ponders screenwriting assignments about killing President Trump. So he's talking about the future screenwriters, giving them an assignment about making a screenwrite about killing President Trump. Why would somebody do something like that? Why is that socially acceptable? Right now, we got a lot of people saying that, Trump's ear bandage is unnecessary. Who says so? You're a doctor? And why should that bother you? The man almost had his head blown off. We don't know what the procedure is or why they're doing what they're doing. And what difference does it make? You got people walking around here with masks on for 2 years, walking up and down the street by themselves or driving in their car, still wearing masks for COVID, complaining about Trump and his ear bandage. Nobody tried to blow your head off. But you got people like this, and this stuff is acceptable to people. But these people didn't just become dangerous. These people have been dangerous. And these people present dangerous things constantly. Look at this. I want to show you guys another example of the evilness of the left and how they try to paint themselves as not being as evil as they are.
It's an actor dressed to look just like President Donald Trump as he's assassinated on stage. Look as his character is stabbed to death. And there's no mistaking the Trump connection. Check out the unbuttoned overcoat and red tie that hangs over his waist. It's a staging of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar that is outraging many. The controversial production is taking place here in New York City's Central Park. The staging is being seen as a direct jab at Trump and the controversial political climate in this country. There are other similarities to Trump. Caesar's wife, Calpurnia, bears a resemblance to First Lady Melania.
Make hands for me!
This is how the assassination scene has usually been done. Julius Caesar repeatedly stabbed by the members of the Roman Senate. In the new version, you see a bloodied Caesar, his white dress shirt soaked in blood. There was mixed reaction about this new twist.
I didn't like that they made this person who looks like Trump get assassinated. It's not a good message.
I don't think it's disrespectful for the president to be murdered on stage. It's not really the president's theater. Everybody knows it's theater.
This all comes on the heels of that outrageous image of Kathy Griffin holding the severed head made to look like Trump. She cried during a news conference where she was both defiant and apologetic.
That apology absolutely stands. I feel horrible.
As the cast took its bow, the audience applauded with a standing ovation. No word from the White House on the controversial production.
Wow. I mean, that's evil. Think the news media condemned all that? You're going to have them stabbed to death, and you think people aren't going to think about those possibilities? I mean, it gets worse. I mean, that was subtle. How about a straight up statement? How about this? From an actor that's going to reference the assassination of a former president. Look at this.
It's just a question. I'm not insinuating anything. By the way, this is going to be in the press. It'll be horrible. But I like that you're all a part of it. When was the last time an actor assassinated a president? Now, I want to clarify, I'm not an actor. I lie for a living. However, it's been a while. And maybe it's time.
However, it's been a while. Maybe it's time. Obviously, he's referring to John Wilkes Booth assassinating President Lincoln at the Ford Theater. This man has openly talked about assassinating President Trump. He should have been ran out of Hollywood. He should have been ran out of the United States, inciting evil to the President of the United States. But Hollywood celebrates people like that. They celebrate this kind of nonsense. And they get away with it. I don't have any record of the Secret Service going to talk to him about this. Maybe they did. But he's not the only one. This kind of stuff was happening all the time when Trump was president. This is the kind of nonsense that people, evil people, masquerading as entertainers do. And I always found it fascinating that we are either gullible enough or stupid enough to look at folks who do make-believe or pretend to be people that there aren't for a living, to take what they say seriously. But we do. There's a lot of us that do it. And so we got this actor that talked about assassinating the president. And of course, we have the rapper pretending like he's going to shoot the president. I don't think the Secret Service wouldn't talk to him. But what about a singer talking about blowing up the White House? Yeah, that happened too.
Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House. But I know that this won't change anything. We cannot fall into despair. As the poet W.H. Auden once wrote on the eve of World War II, we must love one another or die. I choose love.
That's funny. This woman talks about blowing up the White House, but she chooses love. And she's at a rally of women with their vagina hats, I'll use the more correct term, a rally that supporting the ripping out of babies in the womb. She chooses love. I guess she believes in love for debauchery, for murder, and obviously blowing up the White House and killing innocent people because they are not representing the love that she is advocating. I don't remember hearing her catching any hell behind that. She's still running around talking about she's a material girl or whatever the heck the nonsense that she sings. But yeah, that's okay. You can do that if you're on the left. You can do just about any dadgum thing you want. You can advocate lie after lie after lie, evil after evil after evil, shooting the president, putting him in the bullseye, blowing him up, stabbing him to death, assassinating him because he's a Republican and he's not representing your interests, and that's okay. And we have that news media that will feed this lie to everybody, and folks just take it. Don't take the time to investigate it. Don't take the time to look and see if they're being buffaloed while they're trying to promote this guy to be president who now they may very well drop out of the race because he doesn't have a choice, because his party can see clearly that he is falling apart, and which present them with a dilemma. They can bring in, well, they have a vice president who should be the next person on the ticket, but who even polls lower than him, who is, shall we say, questionable in her intellect and in her ability to do anything. I mean, the one job she had was in charge of the border, the same border that 11 to 20 million people crossed during the last 3.5 years and has been sucking up the resources of the country and decimating the possibilities and futures of people in the inner city, because these people, they're not going to bring them and stick them on Nantucket or Beverly Hills or Bel Air or the rich side of Chicago. No, they're going to put them down there in the lower income areas. And then have the nerve to tell you it's the Republicans' fault. So if they skip over her, then they could bring in the demon of the West, who's already destroyed California. Newsom, the fella who had billboards going on across the countries with biblical phrases on it, talking about bringing your children to California so they could be butchered or killing the babies within them. Or the witch from Michigan who told folks during COVID, you can't even cut your yard or buy paint. I mean, Whitmer. So you could jump over Kamala with those folks, unless you can dig out Michelle and then have Obama run for his, fourth term in the shadows. I mean, it's amazing. So they're in a dilemma, and I just pray to God that none of that crap works. But the lies, the vitriol, the hatred of Trump has been going on non-stop. Let's see what else we got before we get out of here. That we want to share with you. Oh, Jeff, what's his name? Jack Black. This fellow. He was having concerts out in Australia. And what happened to him? Well, he canceled his concerts after on stage asked one of his partners, what did he want for a birthday present? Have a listen to this one.
Tonight's Tenacious D gig in Newcastle has been postponed amid calls for the band to be deported. United Australia Senator Ralph Babbitt wants them booted over a comment about Donald Trump's attempted assassination. Jack Black's bandmate Kyle Gass made the remark when he was presented with a birthday cake during Sunday's show.
Make a wish, don't miss Trump next time.
Wow, that's what he wants for a birthday present. Don't miss President Trump next time. That's your left. Don't miss him next time. Oh, he's not the only one. There's been many of these folks. I mean, at least the man was honest enough to say what he really thinks and feels. And so Jack Black, he kind of, Australia was talking about deporting them. But he got smart enough to realize maybe I better just cancel these concerts because I'm advocating killing Trump. That somebody might come in here and kill me. And Trump don't have sufficient Secret Service protection, and I don't have none. So somebody might decide to just blow my head off. So he can't. So I think he's smart enough or scared enough to cancel all that crap. These people are amazing. Well, let's continue.
Now over to our friends at The View. What would a lefty's losing it be without Whoopi Goldberg? Well, she's back out there fighting the good fight for Joe Biden, and she's given the president quite the glowing endorsement.
I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job, and then I'll say, okay, maybe it's time to go.
Lucky Joe, what a great advertisement. And look, at this point, Whoopi should have just really stopped talking. But she went on, and we heard more about her own bowel issues.
I have poopy days all the time. I step in so much poo you can't even imagine.
Well, that explains why Whoopi Goldberg is so full of you-know-what. What else would we expect from the same woman who thought Jill Biden was a real doctor? Remember when she said this?
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. His wife. Because Joe Biden's wife, because he would never do it, but she's a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor.
They never learn, do they? Now, from one loon to another, MSNBC host Joy Reid has had a mentally deranged meltdown over Donald Trump.
If it's Biden in a coma, I'm going to vote for Biden in a coma. I don't even really particularly like the guy. A lot of his policies, don't like him. He's not Donald Trump, right? Yeah. Hitler, White House, we keeping him out, keeping Project 2025 out. That's all I care about. Up and down the ballot, from the rooter to the tutor, school board, all the way up to White House and everything in between. Governors, members of Congress. I'm just going to vote all the way down to keep these people out.
This woman is clearly broken. I mean, I've been wondering, how far can someone like Joy Reid spiral down? What's her limit? I thought maybe she was already there, but no, she just keeps spiralling. Her derangement knows no bounds.
What can I say, folks? These people are deranged. They've been saying that Trump is not cognizant or not mentally fit to be president. They don't care what condition Biden is in. They don't care about nothing. Just keep Trump out of there. And this Joy Reid, this woman that's been screaming racism forever, who's getting lighter and lighter, and now, you know, instead of her wearing her blonde wigs or is dyeing her that long hair blonde all the time, is just strange. And you know, she don't want nothing happening. Everything is just whatever. So I don't know. This is just beyond the pale. Let me see here. I think we're done as far as what I want to show you. I want you to just think about stuff for a minute. Just give it your mind's eye. Do your own research. The media has been lying to you. Remember, they lied to you for 2.5 years about Russia, Russia, Russia. And then when it came out that they were lying, they never apologized. They just went on to the next thing. Let's do the Stormy thing. And then they went on to this lawsuit from some woman that had no proof, and they put Trump on trial with warfare and sued the hell out of him and gave this woman millions of dollars, which is on appeal. Then they took a misdemeanor, if there was a crime, on a federal case and made it somehow a felony state case that never existed and made it 34 counts and tried him in New York. And now the Supreme Court said that he has immunity. They don't know what the hell they want to do with that. Then they had he's talking about the case in Georgia where the election might be stolen. And so then this crazy DA in Fulton County is want to say that he has some kind of RICO trial about stealing the election, when she completely ignores the fact that I can't even think of that woman's name right now, that ran for governor and lost, claimed it was stolen, but that's okay. You know, and this woman hired her boyfriend and gave him, you know, over $1 million, I believe, if not worth of money to try the case, and he's never done nothing before. And she has all kind of issues now that's put that case on hold. I mean, all this warfare, all this stuff is falling apart. And the media supported all of it. And then, of course, they tried to kill him. And it was only the grace of God to stop that. Through the whole time from 2016 up to 2024, the media has lied on it. And if you just pay attention and look at the evidence, you can see it clearly. And now, all of a sudden, the media is saying that Joe got to go. Now, the media is the one supposed to be there every day and tell us what's going on. If Joe had cognitive issues, which he had, they should have been telling us this a long time ago. They pretty much didn't have any kind of Democrat primary. You know, they pretended certain stuff, but they named him. He's a Democrat person, and that's it. And they pretty much shut down anybody challenging him. Now, all of a sudden, a month before the Democrat convention, they want to dump him and get somebody else in there. Well, rightly so. If they're going to get somebody else, it should either be Kamala or whoever the person was that was running against him that they didn't let get there. But now they're going to have to get together and figure out who they want that they think they can stand up against President Trump. And the people that voted for him, why? Because of the obvious and what we told you, they're going to have to settle for whoever they decide they want to be their representative. And all of it is based on a lie. So I challenge you, Democrat, don't believe necessarily what I had to say. Look it up, test it, check it out for yourself. Do serious research. serious research. And that means test everything. Unless you want to continue to be led by the nose down the path to who knows where. And don't be afraid to walk against the grain, because the grain, just like the Bible said, there's the wide road of destruction or the narrow path. I decided to choose the narrow path. I don't care what people think, because in the end, it's going to be me and the Lord. And he's the only one that makes the call, not me and not all them people that have a lot to say. Think about it.